So, I guess I should tell you some more about this whole insemination process, this whole thing with having a baby on your own. I can understand that it sounds odd to some people, but it can be hard to understand why somebody having a baby on their own, or why someone chooses to do that. And first of all, I don't think it's something you should do just because you can, because well, more or less all women above legal age can do that if they want to, and that is not the first. I don't think it should be the first option to anyone really. But if you are in a situation where you feel that you are sure about what you want, you are sure about how your life looks like, it shouldn't be like your life could change totally within a year or something, but you should have a stable life, a stable home, hopefully a stable family, as in having support from either your birth family or from your friend family. Uh, I think it is a good option for those who just don't find any other way. For me, adoption was the first option after having a family with a man I loved. I simply didn't need that man. I I just didn't. First time I fell in love, I was 36, and then I was already pregnant. That pregnancy, also by insemination, that pregnancy ended in a miscarriage, and a relationship ended with that guy who left me, and well, let's say it's a good thing that he wasn't the father of my child, because then I'd been alone once again, and the child had been abandoned once again before it was born, and that is a situation I want to avoid. When you get pregnant through insemination, you don't have that problem. You're alone from start, you know what you're dealing with. The child is not abandoned by anyone. It's your responsibility from start, and you don't have anyone to blame, or there are no conflict in the bottom as it can be when you have a child without being married, or if you're getting divorced or anything like that, if you end up as a single parent in that way, as I guess most people do. And I can see that as a huge benefit from I think that's a really good thing to this way of having a baby. As I already told you, I have 3 children since before, and those children I had in relationships. One of them was a really good relationship, the other two wasn't. None of my children was planned, and I know I'm a good mother. I'm a really good mother. My children tells me so, and of course we do. Most children does. The mom's very good, but overall, I know I am a good parent. I have taken good care of my children. I'm proud of my daughters. But there are things in their lives I had avoided if I'd been able to. And one of the things is being abandoned. Of having a father who walks out on you, and that is something the child never has to have experienced, and I'm very grateful for that. But overall, it's not an easy decision. For me, it took about 6 years from I started to think about the possibility to have a child on my own until I started to do the insemination. And I think that is pretty. I think you should let it take that much time. If you're thinking about doing an insemination, I think you have to let it take that much time. It's nothing you should just decide in March and go ahead in April. It just doesn't work that way. It's not okay. It's not okay to be a child. It's not a responsible thing to do. But I decided to try to do an insemination when I had finished my education. I'm an educated nurse, I'm an educated preschool teacher, I'm an educated primary school teacher. I have also the right to teach in some subjects up to college level. I have some other degrees in different subjects. I'm well educated. I will have a really good income within a few years. I've just started to work about a year ago, and that is also important. I think it's very important that you have financial stability when you having a child this way, or when you have a child overall, but even more so when you are a single mother and you decide to be a single parent from start, because the child is totally dependent on you and there are no backup. You have to make it. You have to be able to give your child exactly what you want. It doesn't have to do with giving the child things and things that costs money, presents, fancy clothes, things like that. But you should have financial stability to still build a life for the child, a life with that kind of life you want the child to live. In my case, I don't evaluate things very highly, but I evaluate time. And having the education I have and being able to not work full time, I have the ability to give the child a lot of my time. I did that with my older children too. I've been a very, very present mom to them. I've been at every single soccer practice, I've been at all dance practice, I've been with them with their friends, we had sleepovers every weekend, I've been with them all the time, and we had a very rich social life. But it has been hard sometimes, and I want to be able to both give my almost grown daughters, because they are almost 16 and almost 19 now. I want them to have a good life now. I want to be able to provide a good home for them too now, and I want to be able to provide a home where I'm able to stay at home pretty much with the baby, because my older children are not that dependent on me being at home. We're not at home. I mean, they have long school days, they have a lot of friends, we're not at home that much. To them, it's better if they work a little bit longer hours, making more money, and are able to give them the things we want, that we are able to go out to a restaurant when we want. Maybe we can be able to go for a weekend trip to some other place just to hang out or things like that. But when I want to be able to combine those two, both having the ability to give my girls this young adult or upper teenage life, which I think they deserves, and having the possibility simply to afford to stay at home a lot with this baby. And I think that is something you have to think through before you're having a child, no matter what, but even more so when you're having a child alone. And well, to me that is very important. So, as I said, my first option was adoption, and it's still an option for me because I had wanted, if it's possible, I'd wanted more children with this child. I think children should grow up with siblings. I think it's the best thing I can give a child, and as this child's siblings will be so much older, I think it would be great if I was able to have at least one more child. But it doesn't have to be my biological child. Genes doesn't matter to me at all. It's not important. But here in Sweden, it's pretty hard to be accepted as adoptive parent if you're a single parent. You have to adopt a child from another country because we simply doesn't have any children up for adoption in Sweden. And it means that the rules, you have to follow the rules in the country where you adopt from, and in most countries single mothers are not accepted. Most of the times they're accepted when it comes to children with special needs. And I'm too glad for that. I have no problem at all with adopting a child with special needs. But I think for that child it had been a bad thing to not be the youngest in the family, because a child with special needs needs more time, and if I had more children after that, it had affected the child in a way I don't think been positive for that child or for the younger sibling. And it also takes a long time to get accepted as a adopted parent in Sweden. So, and I don't have time. So if I went for adoption right now, maybe I'd been like 40, 41 before I had a baby. And if I wanted to have a child biological child, then I have a sibling for the adopted child, I would probably simply be too old. And to adopt two children as a single mother in Sweden, that is almost impossible. So that is still my plan, still a very good option to me, but I have to wait. I'm going to have this baby now, and hopefully I will be able to adopt a younger sibling to this child. Maybe a child with some minor special needs, maybe not, but well, it's further down the road. I'm planning for it, and I keep keeping it in mind, but right now insemination was the best option for me and my family.